What's up, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those that are new to the channel, I'm Joe Wilson, and I make videos related to triathlon, whether it's swimming, biking, running, all those cool things you're going to find on this channel. You can also find me on Instagram at Triathlon Joe, doing crazy things like jumping in the pool, trying to run as fast as I can, and biking. Anyway, in today's episode of What Does Joe Use to Train to Race With, I want to talk to you guys about this thing. It's called the Stryd Footpod, and I've been using it since 2018. Roll the tape. So what is this thing? Basically, it is a power meter for running. I've been using it since 2018, and it's a great tool to pace yourself on a race and also train with. I'm a heavy Zwift user, so this thing will connect to my iPad. I'll put it on my treadmill, and then it connects very simply through Bluetooth. It will tell me if my treadmill is aligned to me or not. It's also ANT compatible, which means you can connect it to your Garmin 935 or Wahoo or whatever you're using to run with, and you can use it for your distance. Instead of using GPS, you can use the Stryd Footpod for distance. And a lot of studies have shown that this thing is pretty accurate. So I trust this actually over GPS or anything else. It also gives you elevation, leg stiffness, all those cool things. But that's not why I use it. I use this thing for pacing. I bought this thing in 2018 after a horrible run at Ironman Chattanooga. I realized I needed something to slow down the horses. You know, you come off the bike and you're ready to go and you want to run everybody down. This thing is an amazing pacer. So basically, how does this work? Well, you basically have to figure out what your critical power is. Think FTP. So you go on the website or they have an app, and you can enter in a 5K time or 10K time, and then it will give you a critical power. That's one way to get your critical power. Another way to get your critical power is you do a 3-minute and 9-minute test. I didn't like that. I just rather race. I feel like that's more accurate. I can go into the hurt locker a lot easier than I can do something on a track for 3 minutes or 9 minutes. So anyway, once you've got your critical power, you go onto the website, or there's third-party websites. There's some Google documents that are out there that you can use to enter in your height, your weight, and then your critical power. And then what it'll do is it'll give you your power number for a 5K or 10K or whatever distance you're doing. And then for that distance, you'll want to hold that power. I let it deviate a little bit when I'm going up hills, down hills. Sometimes if you're in a short race, it's really hard to push a certain power number if you're running straight down. It's also easy for it to go a little above what you want it to be when you're going uphill. But think of the theory of burning matches. This thing right here helps you stop burning matches. You can run off pace, you can run off heart rate, you can run off perceived effort. But I've found this thing, the Stryd, basically, if you run to that stride number, it's better than, heart rate will drift. Your pace could change going up or downhill. Your perceived effort, to me, a lot of times I get brain fog, and hell, half time I don't even know where I'm at when I'm racing, because I'm racing so hard. But this, I feel like, is the ultimate pacer. One of the best races I've ever had, and I'm still trying to catch this number, was a half marathon at Publix in 2019. I got my critical power, which is like 370, and it told me I needed to hold around 340 for my power for the half marathon. And so every mile, whether it was uphill, downhill, I was hitting it. And every mile, I was around the same pace. It was like clockwork. That's the best race I've ever ran. And I ran 1:20.09, so I was very happy with that result. And there was no fade at the end. Other races where I think I'm going to ignore this thing and I feel better than I normally would, it always comes back to haunt me. I did Boston this year, and I did an Ironman the week before. And I thought, hey, this will be easy. This is what the power number I should be able to run to. And that was not the case. And so what happened was, for the first 20 miles, I ran to about that power number. I mean, you had a little bit of drift. And in the last 6 miles, I crashed and burned, and my power went from 280 to 270 to 200. When I'm walking, it was probably like a 150. And so if you go back and look at my marathon, I averaged 257. And if I had started running at 257, I'd have probably held that 257 into the last few miles when I'd have been able to pick it up and negative split the race. And ultimately, that's kind of what we're always looking for. You know, you can also train with it. One thing that I do like training with this is it flattens all the hills in Atlanta. You know, a lot of people go out, including myself, and they're like, oh, I feel like I got to run a sub 9-minute mile to have a good training run. Or, you know, your heart rate, try to run to heart rate, but we all know that drifts. And so here in Atlanta, that's tough because you're going to want to attack the hills and run pretty hard on the downhills because it's like this in Atlanta. So with the Footpod, I'll just run off of my distance and my power. And when I start running up a hill, I'm like, this is 260. And I know what a 260 feels on flat. And so I don't feel, oh, I should have ran harder. No, I ran about a 250, 260, and I know how that feels for my training effect. So, yeah, and then there's tons, I won't go into it, but there's tons of literature out there. Jim Vance has a book called Training with Power or something like that. But if you want to check it out, like I said, for me, I use this for running on Zwift and for racing. And for the Olympic distance, it is completely worth its weight in gold. I've done so many Olympics where I come off and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna run till it hurts, but I know what my effort is based on my power, and Stryd has done a pretty good job. They can predict your finish time pretty well. So I'll come off and I'll run, and I know I'm not gonna run a 35-minute 10K. I know I can run a 37-minute 10K. So a 37-minute 10K at this power number, my height and weight is the X. And a 10K at 35 minutes is not something I can do. So why try to run to that power number when I know I'll crash and burn? Anyway, that's all I got for the Stryd Footpod. I want to talk to you guys briefly about my training for the week. All right, let's look at my week from last week. There's quite a bunch of red. I'll be honest with you, strength training is tough for me to do because between a full-time job, a YouTube channel, trying to train, I got a new puppy. His name is Ani, and all that good stuff. Something's got to go. I like to train in volume, so unfortunately, strength training gets left in the red sometimes. I'm also a little disappointed in my running for the last week. I had some good runs on Wednesday, Thursday, and a short, easy run on Tuesday. I was supposed to run on Saturday, but when you have a family, sometimes that has to go also. And then Saturday night, I had a little too many martinis. Had a big margarita, which gave me a massive hangover. So that endurance run did not happen on Sunday. Man, that sucks too, because that was supposed to be a 2-hour run. I've got Publix coming up, so I got to tighten up for a while. I'm probably not, there won't be much drinking, hardly at all, for the next little while. So for the week, I think I was around 150 miles on the bike. I missed a couple swims and only swam on Wednesday and Friday. I was supposed to swim on Saturday, but they canceled swim for my daughter on Saturday, so I only got 2 swims in. For the run, I got in right at 22 miles. That's not enough for my goals for Publix, so it's time to tighten up. The bike was good. I did hit a good 3.5-hour bike on Saturday. Right around 200 watts. and that's probably the best I've felt since I've raced Ironman Indiana. So next week's volume is probably typically the same, or probably about the same, and so, but next week I've got to hit a good run if I'm going to be ready for Publix at the end of February. So anyway, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video on the Stryd Footpod. Let me know what you guys think. You know, leave a comment and tell me if you've used it before or not, if you're on the fence or whatnot. I'll tell you what, I love the thing. Not endorsed, not sponsored, none of that cool stuff. Wish. But it's a great tool, great pacing tool, great way to run on Zwift. It's a great way to train. So anyway, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, do all those cool things to do on YouTube, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.